Hey guys, tonight we are stepping into combat boots that do not fit, shouldering a rifle that jams when you need it most, and discovering why the good war was anything but good for the 16 million Americans who fought it. We are diving into what life was really like as an American soldier in World War II. Forget Band of Brothers and Saving Private Ryan. The truth? You probably would not last a week. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from and what time it is for you. It is always fascinating to see who is joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let us ease into tonight's journey together. You have heard the stories. The greatest generation. Heroes who stormed beaches, liberated Europe, and saved the world from fascism. All true. But here is what they do not tell you. Those heroes were terrified 18-year-olds who cried for their mothers, soiled themselves in foxholes, and came home broken in ways that would not be diagnosed for decades. They were kids who went from milking cows to manning machine guns, from high school dances to death marches, from mom's apple pie to eating cold beans while their best friend bled out beside them. Tonight, we are going to follow you, a regular American kid from 1942, as you transform from a soda fountain regular into a government-issued killing machine. Spoiler alert, the transformation hurts, the food is terrible, and the mortality rate is somewhat worse than your current job. So get comfortable in your climate-controlled room, on your memory foam mattress, with your anxiety medication within reach. Because where we are going, none of those exist. Where we are going, comfort is a forgotten dream. Safety is a myth, and survival is a daily lottery you did not ask to enter. Ready? Of course you are not. Neither were they. Congratulations. It is 1942, and you just received the letter every American male between 18 and 45 has been dreading. Greetings, it begins, which is already a lie, because there is nothing greeting-like about being ordered to report for military service. Uncle Sam wants you, whether you want him or not. And trust me, after what is coming, you will not. Perhaps you tried to enlist after Pearl Harbor, swept up in the wave of patriotic fervor. Or maybe you held out, hoping to be overlooked, praying the war would end before your number was called. Either way, you are here now, standing in line at the induction center with hundreds of other wide-eyed boys, all trying to look brave, all failing quietly. The doctor asks you to strip naked. He inspects your feet, your eyes, listens to your heart, searching for any defect that might send you home. You have none. Congratulations. You are perfect cannon fodder. You are granted one final night at home. Your mother makes your favorite meal, but it tastes like sawdust. Your little sister cries silently at the dinner table. Your father shakes your hand and tells you to give them hell, but you see the tears in his eyes. Your sweetheart swears she will wait. You both pretend that is true. That night, you lie awake in your childhood bed, staring up at model airplanes suspended from your ceiling, wondering if you will ever see them again. The answer, though you do not know it yet, is probably not. The next morning, you are herded onto a train bound for boot camp. It might be Fort Benning, Georgia. It might be Camp Roberts, California. It does not matter. Every training ground is a machine designed to strip you bare, grind down your spirit, and mold you into something less than human, but more than civilian. The moment your boots hit the ground, the transformation begins. A drill sergeant part monster, part man makes it clear that he is not here to be your friend. He screams, not speaks, spits, not talks. His face is inches from yours, his voice a thunderclap in your skull. You flinch. That is all he needs. You are marked. The first stop is the barber, who is more executioner than stylist. The clippers buzz with malice as your carefully combed hair falls away. That pompadour you are so proud of? Gone, along with your identity. You become just another bald, bewildered recruit, indistinguishable from the rest. Uniforms are distributed next. They do not fit. Nothing fits. The army has 2 sizes too small and too enormous. You receive both. Your boots are stiff and unforgiving. Your shirt chokes you, and your pants could shelter a family of 4. Everything is the same lifeless shade of olive drab a color that seems to suck the joy out of the air. You pack up your civilian clothes to be mailed home. It will be years before you touch anything soft again. Physical training begins immediately. It is not a workout. It is punishment. You run until your lungs are on fire, until your stomach empties itself onto the dirt, then run again. Push-ups until your arms fail, then 50 more. Obstacle courses that feel like medieval torture. You crawl under barbed wire through wet, stinking mud as instructors shout that you are worthless, that you will die in your first firefight, that your girlfriend is probably with someone else already. And deep down, you start to believe them. At night, you collapse into a bunk that creaks and groans under your bruised, exhausted frame. The mattress feels like concrete. The blanket barely qualifies as fabric. But sleep does not come yet. First, you learn to make your bed with hospital corners, so precise you could shave on them. If the sergeant can flick a quarter off it, you are safe. If not, your bunk is overturned, and you begin again. You are humiliated, not just privately, but publicly. The men around you glare. You are slowing them down. The guy in the bunk beside you is crying into his pillow. You want to say something, but you cannot risk cracking yourself. Because if you start crying, you might never stop. You lie there, sore, disoriented, homesick to your bones, wondering what happened to your simple life. Welcome to the army. And remember, this is still the easy part. Crash, bang, clatter. It is 4:30 in the morning. A garbage can just collided violently with the barracks floor. That is your wake-up call now. No soft sunrise, no birdsong, no radio gently whispering a Bing Crosby tune. Instead, a deranged sergeant wielding metal trash can lids like cymbals begins his symphony of suffering. Drop your junk and grab your socks, he bellows. You have 3 minutes to get dressed. 3 minutes to shake off sleep. Locate your pants in the half-dark and assemble yourself into something resembling a soldier. Around you, chaos. Someone falls over. Someone else swears. The sergeant hears. Now you are all on the ground doing push-ups again. The rule is simple: one person fails, everyone suffers. They say it builds unity. Mostly, it builds resentment. You count each repetition with shaking arms, as your chest kisses the cold floor over and over. Once allowed to stand, you hurry to make your bunk. Again, the blanket must be taut enough to bounce a quarter. Anything less invites punishment. The sergeant inspects. Yours is rejected. You fix it while the others watch and mutter. Now for the latrine. Imagine the worst public restroom you have ever endured. Remove the stalls. Add 60 men, most of whom have gastrointestinal distress from the mess hall stew. That is your morning ritual now. Privacy is gone. You squat shoulder to shoulder with strangers as a sergeant yells for you to hurry up. Bodily functions are timed. The Nazis are not waiting for you to finish, he roars. And it is time to shave. There are too few mirrors and even fewer clean razors. The shaving cream is probably industrial solvent. You slice your face open. You pour cheap aftershave over the cut. It stings, and you do not even care anymore. The water is ice cold. You splash your face and brush your teeth with powder that tastes like chalk mixed with mint-flavored disappointment. Your toothbrush is identical to everyone else's. You hope you grabbed the right one. You probably did not. 100 hours formation. You stand outside in whatever weather God threw at Georgia that morning. Rain, you stand in it. Snow, you stand in it. biblical plague of locusts. You stand in it at attention while the sergeant inspects your uniform. He finds a thread. One single thread. Your entire squad does push-ups in the mud while he lectures about attention to detail. Finally, you march to breakfast. Not walk. March in step and in formation, like robots programmed by someone who despises knees. Left, 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 right, left. A guy behind you steps on your heel. Your shoe comes off. You hop march until you can grab it. The sergeant sees everything. More push-ups await. The mess hall looms ahead. You can smell it from 50 yards away. That peculiar aroma of industrial cooking mixed with despair. Your stomach growls, then immediately regrets it. Because what is waiting is not food. It is army food. And there is a special circle in hell reserved for whoever invented it. But that is the next chapter of your morning. Right now, you are still marching, still hoping, still naive enough to think breakfast might be edible. Poor, foolish recruit. You will learn. After choking down what the Army generously calls breakfast, it is time to meet your new best friend. No, not the guy bunking next to you. He will be dead by Normandy. This is about your rifle, your M1 Garand. 9.5 pounds of wood and steel that will determine whether you make it home or become another telegram. The sergeant holds one up like it is the Holy Grail. This is your rifle. This is your gun. He grabs his crotch. This is for fighting. This is for fun. Charming. You will be doing push-ups if you ever call it a gun again. It is a rifle. Always a rifle. You will sleep with it, eat with it, and clean it more thoroughly than you have ever cleaned yourself. They hand you one that has seen better days. The wood is scarred, the metal worn. How many dead kids carried this before you? Best not to think about it. You learn to disassemble it blindfolded, because apparently the Germans only attack in perfect darkness. You learn the ping of an empty and block clip ejecting, a sound that tells every enemy within earshot that you are reloading. Fantastic design feature. The M1 is actually one of the better pieces of equipment you will receive, which should terrify you. It only jams when it is too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, or when you need it most. The ammunition clips come preloaded, and if you try to top off a half-empty clip, enjoy your new thumb injury. They call it M1 thumb. You will call it other things. Next up, your helmet. It is steel. It is heavy. And it is surprisingly multifunctional. Sure, it might stop shrapnel. Might. But it is also your wash basin, your cooking pot, your shovel, and in desperate times, your toilet. That is right. The thing protecting your brain is also where you will relieve yourself when you are pinned down by machine gun fire. War is glamorous like that. The helmet comes in two parts. The steel shell and the liner. The liner is made of compressed cardboard and resin. Yes, cardboard. Between your skull and artillery shrapnel is essentially a hard hat made of yesterday's newspaper. Feel safe? You should not. Now for your uniform. Everything is wool. Everything. Shirts, pants, underwear, wool. In Georgia. In summer, you will sweat through it in minutes, and it will never fully dry. It will chafe in places you did not know could chafe. In winter, it will be the only thing between you and hypothermia, and it still will not be enough. When it gets wet, and it will always be wet, it weighs twice as much and smells like a sheep dyed in a gym sock. Your boots deserve their own circle of hell. They are leather, theoretically, but the Army bought them from the lowest bidder, so they are more like cardboard wrapped in the suggestion of leather. They do not fit. They never fit. Too tight in the toes, too loose in the heel. The laces break if you look at them wrong. Within a week, you will have blisters on your blisters. Within a month, the sole will start separating. In combat, water will pour in through gaps you cannot see, and your feet will rot. Literally rot. Trench foot is not just a World War I thing. But wait, there is more. Your pack, your glorious spine-crushing pack. Empty, it weighs 15 pounds. Filled with everything the Army insists you need, it is 60 to 80 pounds of pure misery. Ammunition, rations, extra socks that will not help. Entrenching tool, a small shovel for digging your own grave. First aid kit, sulfur powder, and hope. Gas mask that fogs instantly. Shelter half a tent, because you need a buddy to not die of exposure. Blanket, mess kit, and 20 other things that will bruise your kidneys with every step. The straps cut into your shoulders. The weight destroys your back. After a 20-mile march, you will have raw, bleeding grooves where the pack ate through your uniform and into your flesh. The medic might have some tape. Probably not. Speaking of the gas mask, let us talk about that masterpiece. It is rubber that has been vulcanized to the consistency of a tire. It smells like a chemical factory had a baby with a burning garbage dump. When you put it on, the eyepieces fog immediately. Always, the filters make breathing feel like sucking air through wet concrete. In training, they will gas you with tear gas to make sure it works. Half the time, it does not. You will spend 20 minutes crying, sneezing, and vomiting while the sergeant laughs. Mask confidence, he will scream. Confidence, you are confident about one thing. If the Germans actually use gas, you are dead. Your canteen holds a quart of water. 1 quart. For a full day of marching in full gear. The water tastes like metal and chlorine because of the purification tablets. Those tablets are supposed to kill bacteria. They also kill any desire to drink water, which is problematic when it is 95 degrees and you are carrying your body weight in gear. Oh, and everything is marked use, your rifle, your helmet, your underwear. Because apparently, in the chaos of war, you might forget which army you are in. Or maybe it is to help identify your corpse. The Army thinks of everything. This is your equipment. Your life depends on it, which is unfortunate because most of it seems designed by someone who actively wants you dead. But do not worry. Soon you will be too exhausted to care. Time for physical training. With all this gear on, in the Georgia heat, this is going to hurt. Asterisk, asterisk, congratulations, soldier. You have survived basic training. You can march, shoot, and digest industrial-grade mystery meat. The Army deems you ready for war. Time to cross an ocean, and the journey there is going to make boot camp look like a pleasure cruise. Asterisk, asterisk. The servers, fellow soldiers who drew the short straw, slot portions onto your tray with all the enthusiasm of gravediggers. They know what they are serving. They have eaten it, too. First up, powdered eggs. The Army takes real eggs, removes everything that makes them eggs, turns them into dust, then adds water and yellow dye. The result looks like scrambled eggs if you squint and have recently suffered head trauma. They taste like rubber bands marinated in sadness. The texture. Imagine chewing a sponge that has been used to clean a chicken coop. They are also green sometimes. No one knows why. Next, the meat. Is it beef, pork, some unholy fusion of animals that did not run fast enough? The official term is creamed chipped beef on toast. The unofficial term is not printable. It is gray, it is lumpy, and it moves on your plate in ways meat should not move. The toast underneath has the consistency of roofing tiles and tastes about the same. Coffee? Sure. If you define coffee as hot brown water that might have once been in the same room as a coffee bean. It is so weak you can see through it, yet somehow still bitter enough to strip paint. Sugar is rationed. Milk is powdered and tastes like chalk. You drink it anyway, because it is hot and warmth is the only pleasure left in your life. But breakfast is a feast compared to field rations. Let me introduce you to the sea ration, your new lunch and dinner for the foreseeable future. Each can is a mystery wrapped in olive drab. The labels are helpful. Meat and beans. Meat and vegetable hash. Meat and spaghetti. Notice a pattern. Everything has meat in quotes, because even the Army is not sure what is in there. You open a can dated 1938. That is not a typo. Your lunch is older than some of the recruits. Inside is a gray-brown mass that might be beef, might be pork, definitely is not fresh. It is swimming in congealed grease that has turned white and waxy. You heat it over a sterno flame if you are lucky. Eat it cold if you are not. Either way, it tastes like defeat, seasoned with preservatives. The crackers that come with it are not crackers. They are hardtack's evil cousin. Harder than your helmet, drier than the Sahara. Men have broken teeth on these things. You learn to soak them in water first, creating a paste that tastes like wallpaper, but at least will not require dental surgery. K-rations are the improved version. Breakfast comes with a fruit bar that has the density of a brick and tastes like someone described fruit to someone who had never seen fruit. Lunch includes cheese, a processed yellow substance that sweats oil in heat and cracks like plastic in cold. Dinner features more mystery meat and a chocolate bar so hard it could be used as armor plating. And then there is the D ration. This is emergency chocolate designed to be so disgusting you will only eat it to avoid starvation. I am not making this up. The Army specifically requested chocolate that tasted bad so soldiers would not eat it unless necessary. It is bitter, chalky, and has the texture of compressed sawdust. It could survive a nuclear blast. Your teeth might not survive eating it. Do not forget the cigarettes. Every ration comes with cigarettes because nothing says nutrition like Lucky Strikes for lunch. Non-smokers start smoking just to mask the taste of dinner. Water. You have purification tablets that make everything taste like a swimming pool. Halazone tablets kill bacteria, parasites, and any joy you might derive from hydration. Your canteen water is always warm, always chemical tasting, always reminds you that you are one sip away from dysentery. In the field, you might supplement with foraged food. That French farmer's chicken that mysteriously disappeared. The one you are roasting over a small fire. You did not see anything. Neither did your sergeant, who is holding a drumstick. Vitamin deficiencies are common. Scurvy makes a comeback. Men get night blindness from a lack of vitamin A, but hey, at least you are losing weight. The Army diet is simple. March 20 miles a day while eating food that your dog would refuse. You will drop 30 pounds in basic training alone. Your mother will not recognize you. Neither will your mirror. The mess sergeant claims it is all nutritionally balanced. Balanced between what and what? Misery and despair. The only thing balanced is how equally everyone hates it. But here is the thing. When you are truly hungry, when you have not eaten in 2 days, because supply lines got hit, when you are down to eating grass and tree, bark like your enemies on the other side, that can of 1938 mystery meat starts looking pretty good. You will dream about it. You will fight over it. You will lick the can clean and thank God for it. For now, though, you are still in training. Still soft, still remembering what real food tastes like. You force down your powdered eggs, your cream-chipped beef on toast, your prehistoric canned goods. Your stomach protests, your taste buds surrender, your bowels begin their own war that will last the duration of your service. And tomorrow, same menu, same mess hall, same culinary nightmare. Bon appetit, soldier. Hope you are not too attached to your digestive system. Congratulations, soldier. You have survived basic training. You can march, shoot, and digest industrial-grade mystery meat. The Army deems you ready for war. Time to cross an ocean, and the journey there is going to make boot camp look like a pleasure cruise. You board a train to the coast, packed into cars like cattle. Actually, cattle get more space and better ventilation. You are heading to New York or San Francisco. Depending on which theater of war gets the pleasure of your presence. The train ride takes days. You sleep sitting up, your rifle between your knees, some guy's elbow in your ribs, everyone marinating in their own sweat and cigarette smoke. At the port, you see your home for the next few weeks. A Liberty ship or a converted passenger liner, now painted gray and stripped of anything resembling comfort. The Queen Mary used to carry Hollywood stars. Now she carries 15,000 seasick soldiers. That is not a typo. 15,000 men on a ship built for 2,000 passengers. You board via narrow gangplanks, carrying everything you own. Officers get cabins. You get the hold. Remember the Titanic steerage? That was luxury compared to this. You are assigned a bunk in a stack of 4, sometimes 6. The space between bunks about 18 inches, just enough to turn over if you exhale first. The bunks are canvas stretched over metal frames. No mattress, no pillow, just you, your scratchy blanket, and several thousand of your closest friends. The hold smells like diesel fumes, body odor, and vomit. Especially vomit. Because the moment that ship leaves port, everyone gets seasick. The Atlantic in winter is not gentle. Waves the size of buildings toss your floating sardine, get around like a toy. You have never been seasick before. You are now. Everyone is. The bathrooms excuse me. Heads are overflowing within hours. Men are puking in their helmets, in corners, in their bunks, when they cannot make it to the rail. You try to get topside for air, but space is limited. When you do make it, you are greeted by wind that cuts through your uniform, like it is tissue paper, and spray that soaks you in seconds. The deck is slippery with seawater and vomit. Men are hanging over the rail, feeding the fish with breakfast, lunch, and what might have been last Tuesday's dinner. Back below, it is 90 degrees and humid as a swamp. The ventilation system is a joke told by someone who hates humans. You are sweating through your uniform, but you cannot take it off because where would you put it? Your entire living space is smaller than your mother's closet. Sleep is impossible. The ship rolls and pitches. The engines throb constantly. Your bunkmate above you is seasick. You know this because some of it just dripped through the canvas onto your face. You would scream, but your own stomach is doing backflips. Meals are served in shifts because the mess hall holds maybe 500 men. You stand in line for hours, shuffling forward as the ship lurches. When you finally get your tray, it is the same gray meat. And powdered eggs, now seasoned with diesel fumes and served on a plate that slides away every time the ship rolls. Fresh water is rationed. Saltwater showers leave you feeling dirtier than before. The soap does not lather in salt water, so you are basically rubbing yourself with a bar of wax while getting pelted with cold ocean. You are being hunted. This is not paranoia. This is fact. German submarines are out there waiting. You sail in convoys, zigzagging to avoid torpedoes. At night, total blackout. No lights, no cigarettes on deck. Nothing that might give away your position. You lie in your bunk listening to the engines, wondering if that sound was a torpedo. Wondering if you will have time to get topside before the ship goes down. Lifeboat drills are daily. You struggle into your life jacket. A cork-filled vest that might keep your corpse floating. You learn your abandoned ship station. You try not to think about 15,000 men trying to fit into lifeboats designed for 2,000. You really try not to think about the water temperature in the North Atlantic. Survival time if you go in about 15 minutes. For entertainment, you have nothing. Maybe a dog-eared paperback that has been read by 500 guys before you. Maybe a deck of cards missing the 7 of hearts. Mostly you have time to think, time to worry, time to realize you are heading to war, and this might be the last ocean you ever cross. Fights break out daily. Put 15,000 bored, seasick, terrified men in a confined space and see what happens. Someone bumps someone in the chow line. Someone snores too loud. Someone exists in the wrong place at the wrong time. The MPs break it up, but tension is thicker than the cigarette smoke. If you are headed to the Pacific, add another week or two to your journey. Stop in Hawaii if you are lucky. Straight to some godforsaken island if you are not. The heat gets worse the further south you go. The hold becomes a sauna. Men pass out from heat exhaustion. The smell. God, the smell. It is like being trapped inside a gym sock worn by King Kong. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes a month at sea. Time loses meaning. You forget what solid ground feels like. You forget what clean air smells like. You forget what it is like to not be nauseous. Finally, land. England, maybe, or North Africa, or some Pacific island you cannot pronounce. You stumble down the gangplank on legs that do not remember how to walk on surfaces that do not move. You are 20 pounds lighter, pale as a ghost, and smell like a portable latrine. Welcome to the war, soldier. The easy part is over. They get the 1,000-yard stare, stop responding to their names, start talking to people who were vaporized last week. They are not cowards. They are broken. Their minds went away without leave, even if their bodies stayed in the hole. You are still here, still digging, still fighting. Your hands are claws. Your feet are rotting. Your mind is fraying at the edges. But you are alive. In this muddy hole, in this tiny piece of hell you have carved out of the earth, you are alive. That is victory enough for today. Tomorrow, you will dig another hole, if you are lucky. If you are alive, Mother Nature is not neutral in this war. She is actively trying to kill you, and she is far more consistent than the Germans. At least the enemy occasionally takes breaks. Weather is not. Weather is constant psychological and physical warfare with no Geneva Convention to restrain it. Let us begin in Europe, in the winter of 1944 to 1945, the coldest in decades. Because, apparently, fate has a sense of humor, and it is dark. You are in Belgium, the Ardennes forest. You have heard of the Battle of the Bulge. That is where you are now. And the bulge is not the only thing that will be infamous in this frozen wasteland. Temperatures fall to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit on the warmer days. The kind of cold that makes your lungs ache with every breath. The winter gear issued to you is almost laughable. A thin coat suited for a chilly afternoon in New Jersey. Gloves that fall apart the first time they meet barbed wire. Boots, still the same cracked leather disasters from basic training. The Germans, meanwhile, have fur-lined everything. You are wrapped in wool, which freezes into stiff armor the moment it becomes wet. And it is always wet. Your feet are the first to go. Leather boots soak through in minutes. Your socks, assuming you still have any, become stiff, icy blocks. Frostbite begins with numbness, progresses to burning pain, and ends when your toes blacken and fall off. Not figuratively, literally fall off. Medics collect them in buckets. Then your hands go. Have you ever tried to fire a rifle while using frozen stumps in place of fingers? The metal of your M1 rifle is so cold it burns to touch. Bearskin sticks to it. Your trigger finger does not bend anymore. You mash your palm against the trigger and hope for the best. Water freezes in your canteen. Food freezes solid. Your sea rations become bricks. Hard enough to break your teeth, though you are too cold to chew anyway. You thaw food in your armpits, the last warm place on your body. Armpit-flavored beans remind you how far from normal life you have drifted. Snow blindness, that cruel trick of endless white, is everywhere. Your eyes surrender. Makeshift goggles are nothing more than rags with narrow slits. Still, the light stabs through. You wander like drunks, walking into trees, falling into holes, firing at the wind, because everything starts to look like the enemy when you cannot see. Yes, you might say, what about fires? Try it. Build a fire and wait. The smoke will draw artillery faster than frostbite. So you huddle. 6 men, tangled together, clinging to one another for warmth. Dignity is gone, forgotten, traded away for body heat. Dignity does not protect you from hypothermia. Now the Pacific. The weather kills differently, but just as eagerly. Temperatures rise to 95 degrees, humidity suffocating at 99%. The air itself becomes thick. Every breath feels like inhaling soup. Your uniform never dries. The sweat never leaves. It only accumulates, and the air refuses to take any more. Everything begins to rot. Your gear, your boots, your skin. Jungle rot begins between the toes and climbs up. Flesh turns soft and white, like cottage cheese. The smell is something your mind refuses to keep. The pain, however, stays. Every step becomes agony, as if walking across salt-covered shards of glass. Rain does not fall in the Pacific. It slams. Monsoons that dump inches per hour. Trails vanish under torrents. Foxholes flood. Soldiers become soggy ghosts, soaked for weeks. Your poncho is a joke. Rain finds every weakness, every seam. You are soaked to the marrow, and it never ends. And the mud, not just wet soil, a brew of rotted leaves, ash, and ancient decay. It grips your legs like a living thing. It holds you down while the enemy watches from above. Mosquitoes do not bite. They pierce. Massive, insistent, relentless. They bite through cloth, through netting, through whatever is left of your will. Malaria is not a risk. It is a certainty. The only question is which kind you will get and whether the medication still works. Night brings no relief, just darkness. You lie there, uniform soaked, body aching, eyes open, listening. Jungle sounds never stop. You hope it is a monkey. You pray it is not a Japanese soldier moving through the dark. Either way, you do not sleep. You are surrounded by water, but it is poison. Streams are filled with things that do not die when they enter your body. Rainwater picks up everything bad on its way down. Your only safe drink comes from a canteen filled with chemically treated liquid that tastes like punishment. And so you drink, and you hope it will not be the last thing your kidneys ever process. The desert does not want to be forgotten. North Africa offers endless sand, endless heat. Sand works its way into every seam, every crack, every bite of food, every breath. It grinds your rifle. It scrapes your throat. Sandstorms rise out of nowhere, stripping flesh, burying anything not tied down. Days so hot that metal scorches through gloves. Nights so cold they steal your sleep and your hope. The sun is personal here. You feel like it sees you, and it hates you. Shade is a memory. You blister. You burn. Your lips split. Your eyes dry out, scraping under your lids like grit. And thirst becomes its own language. You consider things you should never consider. Some drink their own urine, and some later do not live to regret it. Italy now. Italy is wind and rain and cliffs. You climb under fire. You scale narrow trails as floods tear them apart. Rocks give way. Whole squads fall. Mules tumble into the void, taking your food, your ammo, your lifeline. You cling to slippery stone with shaking fingers, asking yourself, quietly, why you ever turned down that Navy recruiter. And always, the wind. In the mountains, it shoves you. In the desert, it carries razors. In winter, it slices straight through every layer like your clothes are made of tissue. Wind chill is not acknowledged. You are simply weak for minding the pain. Weather, in all its forms, has one mission: to undo you. It wants you ruined. The list of conditions grows: long sun poisoning, heat stroke, trench foot, snow blindness. The environment has more ways to unmake you than the Germans do. You adapt or you fade. Often both. You learn to keep moving while soaked, while freezing, while cooking. You learn that suffering is just another word for Tuesday. Complaining is a luxury, and you cannot afford it. Not here. You are still here, still digging, still fighting. Your hands are claws. Your feet are rotting. Your mind is fraying at the edges. but you are alive. In this muddy hole, in this tiny piece of hell you have carved out of the earth, you are alive. That is victory enough for today. Tomorrow, you will dig another hole if you are lucky. If you are alive, Mother Nature is not neutral in this war. The weather forecast calls for pain with a chance of agony, followed by extended periods of misery. But hey, at least it builds character, right? That is what the officers say from their heated command posts while you are out here growing icicles from your nostrils or sweating out. What remains of your soul? Character. Sure, that is what we are calling it. Congratulations. You have survived German bullets, Japanese Banzai charges, and weather that hates you personally. Too bad the microscopic world wants you dead too. Disease kills more soldiers than combat, and medical care well. Let us just say, you had better hope for a quick death over a slow infection. Let us begin with the classics. Dysentery, also known as the GI's revenge or the screaming shits, is something everyone experiences. Everyone. Your intestines become a water slide of horror. You are sprinting to the latrine every 20 minutes, assuming you make it in time. Often, you do not. Nothing says warrior quite like soiling yourself while under fire because your bowels have declared independence. The medics provide sulfur pills that might help if the dysentery is bacterial. If it is amoebic, enjoy the next 6 months of your life leaking from both ends. You will lose 30 pounds you cannot spare, bleed, and pray for death while squatting over yet another slit trench. Malaria is the Pacific's special gift. Mosquitoes inject parasites that set up camp in your liver and throw wild parties every few days. Fever spikes to 104 degrees. Teeth chatter so hard you crack through 3 layers of uniform fabric while simultaneously freezing. Then it breaks. You feel almost human for a day. Then, surprise, round 2 arrives. The treatment is quinine, which causes ringing in your ears, temporary deafness, and makes you vomit, or atabrine, which turns your skin yellow and might cause psychosis. Choose your poison. Either way, you take it for months, and malaria returns whenever it pleases to ruin your life again. Jungle rot is not just a clever name. Your feet literally decompose while still attached. The skin peels off in sheets. The smell makes hardened combat veterans gag. Walking feels like stepping onto hot coals, covered in salt and battery acid. The treatment? Keep your feet dry in a jungle during monsoon season. Good luck with that. Trench foot is jungle rot's European cousin. Your feet stay wet for weeks. Blood flow stops. Tissue dies. First they go numb, then they burn, then they turn black. If you are lucky, you keep your feet, but never walk right again. If you are unlucky, the surgeon starts sawing. No anesthesia beyond a shot of morphine and a leather strap to bite. Speaking of medical care, meet your company medic. He is 19 years old, had 6 weeks of training, and carries bandages, morphine, and sulfur powder. That is it. Got a sucking chest wound? He will slap a bandage on it and hope for the best. Got shot? Morphine and prayers. Missing a limb? Tourniquet and more morphine. Field hospitals are like Bosch paintings come to life. Surgeons operate by candlelight, up to their elbows in gore, making decisions about who might live and who is not worth the effort. The triage tag system is brutal. Red means you might survive with immediate surgery. Yellow means you can wait. Black means start planning your funeral. If you make it to surgery, congratulations on winning the lottery. Now enjoy your prize. Being cut open on a table, sterilized by wiping it with alcohol, if they have any. The surgeon has been awake for 72 hours straight. His hands shake from exhaustion and too much coffee. Anesthesia is either too much and you never wake up, or too little and you awaken mid-operation. Infection is guaranteed. Antibiotics like penicillin exist, but they are rarer than a sympathetic sergeant. Most likely, sulfur powder is dumped in your wounds. It helps sometimes. Sometimes it does not. Gangrene sets in, turning tissue black and rotten. The smell fills the ward. Everyone knows what comes next. More surgery. Blood transfusions are an adventure. Blood typing is basic. Storage is primitive. Wrong type, your kidneys shut down and you die urinating black. Right type but contaminated. Enjoy bonus hepatitis or syphilis. No blood available? Saline and hope your body figures it out. Combat fatigue, shell shock. Battle neurosis, different names from minds breaking under pressure. You cannot stop shaking. Loud noises make you dive for cover. You see dead friends in every shadow. The initial treatment is a slap and being called a coward. Later, you might get sent to a rest center for a few days. Then back to the line because the war needs bodies, broken or not. Venereal diseases run rampant. Every army lecture about keeping it in your pants fails against human nature. Gonorrhea makes urination feel like molten lava passing through. Syphilis begins with sores and progresses to madness. The treatment involves injections in places. Injections should never go, followed by weeks of antibiotics. You probably will not finish because you are needed back at the front. Hepatitis spreads through contaminated water, blood, and the general filth of military life. Your skin turns yellow. You vomit bile. Your liver decides it has had enough of functioning. Treatment consists of bed rest in a war zone while your unit moves on without you. Typhus comes courtesy of lice. High fever, rash, delirium. You hallucinate conversations with God while your temperature cooks your brain. DDT powder is supposed to kill the lice, but mostly it makes you cough and wonder what long-term effects you will suffer. Spoiler: cancer. Lots of cancer. Frostbite is not a disease, but might as well be. Your fingers turn white, then blue, then black. They are either numb or hurt, so badly you would cut them off yourself if you could hold a knife. The medic's treatment is to keep them warm. Thanks, Doc. Why did I not think of that while freezing to death in a foxhole? Even minor wounds go septic. That scratch from barbed wire is now red, swollen, and oozing pus. That blister, infected. That mosquito bite you scratched. Welcome to blood poisoning. Everything wants to kill you, including your own immune system. The real treatment for most conditions is luck. Lucky if the medic reaches you. Lucky if the morphine has not run out. Lucky if the field hospital has not been shelled. Lucky if infection does not set in. Lucky if you heal enough to be sent home instead of back to the front. Medical records are a joke. Your shock record gets lost, so you get vaccinated again and again. Your medical history is whatever the current doctor guesses by looking at you. That persistent cough could be pneumonia, tuberculosis, or just the effects of breathing cordite and corpse smoke for months. Here is the thing. Military medicine in World War II is about keeping you functional, not healthy. Can you hold a rifle? You are fit for duty. Bleeding from your ears? Here is some aspirin. Cannot stop yourself? Here is a cork, and get back to your post. The medics and doctors do their best with Stone Age tools and impossible conditions. They save lives through sheer determination and the kind of creativity born from desperation. But for every miracle save, 10 men die from things that would not kill a civilian with access to a drugstore. You survive combat only to be taken down by a mosquito. You dodge bullets for months, then die from an infected paper cut. You make it through 3 campaigns, then get sent home because your feet rotted off. War is not just hell. It is hell with dysentery. Here is something they do not put on recruitment posters. You are going to watch your friends die. Not metaphorically, not in some distant abstract way. You are going to watch the light leave their eyes, hold their hands while they call for their mothers, and zip what is left of them into body bags. Then you are going to make new friends and watch it happen again. It starts in basic training. You bond with guys over shared misery. Johnson from Iowa, who cannot do a push-up. Martinez from Texas, who cries every night but pretends he does not. Kowalski from Chicago, who makes everyone laugh with impressions of the drill sergeant. You swear you will stick together. Watch each other's backs. Make it home to tell stories. Johnson does not make it past the first week in combat. Mortar round direct hit. 1 second he is complaining about the C rations. The next second he is missed in memories. You find his helmet 20 yards away. The chin strap is still buckled. Making friends in combat is like building sandcastles during high tide. You know they are temporary, but you build them anyway, because the alternative is being alone with your fear. You learn not to ask about families, girlfriends, or plans for after the war. Those topics make people real, and real people leave ghosts when they die. Instead, you stick to safe topics. Who has cigarettes? Anyone seen the left lieutenant? Think mail call will come today? You share foxholes, food, and ammo, but you do not share dreams. Dreams are dangerous. Dreams make you care, but you care anyway. You cannot help it. When Martinez takes shrapnel in the gut and spends 6 hours dying, you are there. You lie to him. Tell him he looks fine. He will be dancing with Texas girls by Christmas. He knows you are lying. You know he knows. But you both pretend, because what else is there? The buddy system means you are never alone, which means you are never far from tragedy. Your foxhole buddy knows when you last took what you mumble in your sleep, how you like your terrible coffee. You know his rifle serial number better than your own, because you have helped clean it so many times. You develop telepathic communication. A glance says, I will go left. A nod means covering fire in 3 seconds. Then one day, he is not there. Sniper maybe, or he stepped on a mine, or dysentery finally won. The point is he is gone, and you are assigned a replacement who does not know the shorthand, does not know to wake. You gently, because sudden movements make you violent, does not know anything except he is probably going to die too. The replacement, fresh from the States, still has all his original equipment. Still calls magazines clips. Still thinks this is an adventure. You want to hate him for being new, for being alive when better men are dead. But you cannot, because in 2 weeks, he will either be dead, or he will be you, watching another replacement with those same hollow eyes. Let us become eulogies. You promised dying friends you would write their families. Tell them they were heroes. But what do you say? Dear Mrs. Johnson, your son died screaming for you after a German 88 turned his legs into hamburger. He was conscious for most of it. I held his hand while he himself, and bled out. He was 19. No, you write lies. He died bravely, instantly fighting for freedom. You leave out the parts about him crying, begging, trying to stuff his intestines back inside. Their families need heroes, not truth. Dog tags become morbid jewelry. You are supposed to take one, leave one with the body. But sometimes there is no body. Sometimes there is too much body spread over too wide an area. So you collect tags, carry them until you can turn them in. They clink in your pocket, a metallic reminder of faces you are already forgetting. You develop superstitions about friendship. Do not learn names until they survive a week. Do not look at photos of their families. Do not make plans together. Do not use the word when, only if. If we make it, if we get home, if we survive this war. But loneliness is its own kind of death. So you break your rules. You learn that Kowalski's real name is Stanley. He has a girl named Betty. He wants to open a hardware store after the war. You let him teach you Polish curse words. You share your last chocolate bar from home. You pretend there is an after. Then Kowalski catches a burst from a machine gun. 6 rounds. Center mass. He is dead before he hits the ground, which is a mercy. You take his dog tag, his letters from Betty, the photo he carried. You promise yourself you will send them home. You promise yourself you will tell Betty he talked about her constantly. You never do. What would be the point? She has moved on, or she has not. But either way, a letter from you will not help. You carry his things for a month, and leave them in a burned-out church somewhere in France. The war moves on. So do you. Replacement cycles become a cruel joke. New guys show up. You can see their expiration dates floating above their heads. The ones who talk too much die first. The ones who freeze under fire die second. The ones who think they are invincible die first. The quiet ones who do exactly what veterans tell them might make it a month. You stop learning names. They are all replacement or new guy, or hey you. Why bother with names when they will be statistics by Sunday? The other veterans understand. You develop a language of grunts and nods. It says everything important. That one will not last. This one might. Do not get attached. But sometimes one surprises you, survives longer than expected, starts to grow that 1,000-yard stare that marks a real soldier. You almost start to hope. Then a random artillery shell, or a lucky sniper shot, or a mine left over from last year is fighting, and hope dies with them. The worst are the ones who almost make it. The guys who survive 11 months and catch a bullet during a quiet patrol. The ones who get their orders home, then step on a mine. The ones who die after the official ceasefire because nobody told the German artillery unit the war is over. You carry their ghosts, not metaphorically. You hear Johnson laughing at night. See Martinez in your peripheral vision. Feel Kowalski tap your shoulder during firefights. Combat vets do not talk about this because admitting you are haunted means admitting you are broken. And broken soldiers get sent to special hospitals they do not come back from. So you pretend the ghosts are not there. Pretend you do not save cigarettes for dead men. Pretend you do not leave space in the chow line for friends who have been gone 6 months. Pretend you are not having full conversations with people who exist only in your head and heart. By the end, if you make it that far, you are more ghost than man yourself. Your original unit is gone, replaced 2 or 3 times over. You are the old guy now, the one replacements look at with awe and fear. You want to tell them the secret to survival, but the truth is, there is not one. You are alive through pure cosmic accident, nothing more. The friends you swore you would remember, their faces fade. Their names get jumbled. Was it Johnson from Iowa or Johnson from Idaho? Was Martinez shot or blown up? You hate yourself for forgetting, but forgetting is the only way to make room for the next batch of friends you will watch die. That is the real casualty of war. Not just the bodies, the connections, the brotherhood forged in shared terror, dissolved in blood and time. You will go home eventually, if you are lucky. You will have a life, a family, a job, but you will always be looking for them. Johnson, Martinez, Kowalski, all the others, they will always be 19. You will grow old. That is survival. That is victory. That is the price. Your hands will not stop shaking. Started last week during that barrage. Figured they would stop when the shelling did. They didn't. Now you are trying to light a cigarette, and it looks like you're reconducting an orchestra in an earthquake. The other guys pretend not to notice. They've got their own symphonies going. Shell shock, combat fatigue, battle neurosis. It starts small. Maybe you flinch when someone drops a mess kit. Maybe you can't sleep unless you're holding your rifle. Maybe you keep seeing movement in the corner of your eye. Germans flanking, Japanese charging, but when you look, it's just trees. Just shadows. Always just shadows. The 1,000-yard stare arrives uninvited. One day, you realize you're looking through things instead of at them. Your eyes focus somewhere past the horizon, past the war, past caring. Conversations happen around you, not with you. Someone asks if you're okay. You say yes. You're lying. They know. They ask anyway. Because what else is there to do? Sleep becomes your enemy. Close your eyes, and you're back in that pillbox, flamethrower your face. Or you're watching Thompson step on that mine again and again. The explosion happens in slow motion. You can see every piece of shrapnel, trace its trajectory, know exactly where it's going to hit him. You try to warn him, but your mouth won't work. You wake up screaming. Everyone's awake anyway. Nobody mentions it at breakfast. Your body develops its own PTSD. Sudden noises make you hit the dirt. A car backfires stateside. You're face down in a ditch before your brain catches up. Your heart hammers like machine gun fire. Your body dumps adrenaline like it's still 1944. And that sound means incoming. People stare. You pretend you tripped. Everyone pretends to believe you. The shakes come and go. Sometimes it's just your hands. Sometimes your whole body vibrates like a tuning fork. Cold sweats in 90-degree heat. You tell the medic you might have malaria. He looks at your eyes, sees something else entirely, gives you aspirin, and tells you to get some rest. Rest? Right. That's hilarious. You start self-medicating. Everyone does. The Army provides cigarettes like their vitamin C3 packs a day becomes normal. Your fingers are yellow. Your lungs sound like a cement mixer, but at least holding a cigarette gives your shaking hand something to do. Booze when you can get it. Wine from liberated French cellars. Schnapps from German bunkers. Anything that might make the edges less sharp. Might let you sleep without dreams. You're not drunk. You're managing symptoms. There's a difference. You think there's a difference? Some guys find religion. Foxhole conversions are real. Nothing like artillery to make you reconsider your relationship with God. They clutch rosaries, recite prayers, promise to become priests if they survive. Some keep that promise. Most realize God was just another desperate hope in a hopeless place. Others go the opposite direction. If God exists, he's got a sick sense of humor. What kind of deity lets 19-year-olds burn alive in tanks? Makes you step over pieces of children to advance. The chaplain says it's all part of a plan. You want to punch the chaplain, but your hands are shaking too badly to make a fist. Anger becomes your default setting. Not hot anger that burns out fast. This is cold, constant, like frostbite in your soul. You're angry at the Germans for starting this. Angry at the officers for continuing it. Angry at replacements for being new. Angry at veterans for being alive. Angry at the dead for leaving. Angry at yourself for caring. The medics start handing out sodium pentothal, truth serum. They call it supposed to help you talk about the trauma. You take it, spill your guts about things you've seen, things you've done. Feel better for about an hour. Then the memories come back harder, sharper, with interest. Now you've got guilt on top of everything else. Some guys crack completely. One day they're functioning, next day they're catatonic. Or they start walking toward enemy lines without weapons, like they're going to the corner store. Or they sit down and refuse to move, speak, acknowledge existence. The look in their eyes isn't 1,000-yard anymore. It's million-mile. They're so far gone. They're in another universe. They get shipped out. Combat exhaustion. The papers say the replacement pipeline works both directions. New meat arrives. Broken meat leaves. You wonder if the broken ones are the smart ones. At least they're done. At least they found an exit that doesn't require a body bag. You develop tics. Maybe you check your rifle constantly, obsessively. Every 5 minutes, you're checking the action, counting ammunition. Maybe you can't eat without your back to a wall. Maybe you refuse to take your boots off, because the one time you did, mortar started falling and you ran barefoot through snow. And now your feet and footwear are permanently linked in your broken brain. Letters from home make it worse. Your girl writes about dances, movies, normal life. Your mom sends cookies and asks if you're eating enough. They want the boy who left. That boy is gone. killed somewhere between Normandy and here. You're what's left. And you don't know how to explain that to people who think war is John Wayne movies and victory gardens. You start forgetting home, not the facts. You remember your address, your family's names, but the feeling of it, safety, comfort, the idea that you can walk down a street without checking rooftops for snipers. That garbage in the road is just garbage, not camouflaged mines. That silence means peace, not ambush. These concepts become fiction, stories you tell yourself, but can't quite believe. The worst part, you're still functional, still fighting, still following orders. The army doesn't care if you're held together with cigarettes and rage as long as you can point a rifle the right direction. You're broken, but not broken enough. A perfect soldier, too damaged to ever be whole again, not damaged enough to go home. You see it in the other guys, too. Williams hasn't slept more than 2 hours straight in months. Every time he closes his eyes, he's back in that burning tank, clawing at the hatch. Henderson talks to his dead squad constantly, full conversations with ghosts. Murphy collects ears from dead Germans, strings them on a necklace. Nobody says anything. What's the point? We're all insane here. The shaking gets worse before battles. Your body knows what's coming. Starts dumping chemicals before your brain catches up. You puke from nerves. Everyone does. The new guys think it's fear. It's not fear. Fear is rational. This is your body trying to escape a situation your mind won't let you leave. Sometimes you break in small ways. Can't tie your boots one morning? Just can't. The laces might as well be advanced calculus. You stare at them for 20 minutes until someone does it for you. Nobody mocks. Tomorrow, it might be them staring at their laces like they hold the secrets of the universe. You learn to hide the worst of it. Keep the screaming internal. Save the crying for when you're alone on watch. Don't let the officers see how bad it's getting. Officers who show weakness disappear, replaced by fresh lieutenants who will get everyone killed with their textbook tactics. Better the devil you know, even if that devil is you. The medics run out of answers. Pills for sleep that don't work. Pills for nerves that make you foggy. Pills for pain that just mask different pain. You become a walking pharmacy rattling with tablets that treat symptoms of symptoms. Your body is here, but your mind is scattered across every battlefield, every close call, every friend's death. Some guys find ways to cope. Daniels writes everything down, fills notebook after notebook with things he can't say out loud. Peterson draws sketches of dead Germans, destroyed towns, things that would horrify civilians, but make perfect sense to anyone who's been here. Art therapy before anyone called it that. Others find darker outlets. Roberts volunteers for every patrol, every dangerous mission. Death wish or adrenaline junkie? Both. Neither. He says he feels normal only when bullets are flying, only when death is inches away. Between fights, he's empty. Combat fills the void. The officers love him. The medics are taking bets on when he'll catch the bullet he's chasing. You try to explain it in letters home, but words fail. How do you describe the sound a man makes when napalm hits? The smell of a mass grave in summer. The weight of shooting a kid who might have had a grenade, might have been reaching for surrender. You write, I'm fine. Food's terrible. Miss you too. The real stories stay locked inside, eating you like acid. The Army solution is always the same. Suck it up, soldier. They hand out pamphlets about combat fatigue that read like they were written by someone who learned about war from newsreels. Get plenty of rest, right? Maintain a positive attitude. Sure. Remember, you're fighting for freedom. Freedom to wake up screaming for the next 40 years. Time becomes elastic. Minutes in combat feel like hours. Months pass in blinks. You can't remember if that patrol was yesterday or last month. All the days blur together. Mud, blood, Noise, silence, repeat. You're unstuck in time, existing in all moments simultaneously. Past, present, future collapse into one endless now of hypervigilance and exhaustion. Your personality changes. The kid who enlisted, optimistic, funny, full of plans, is buried under layers of trauma. You're harder now, colder. You laugh at things that should horrify. Find humor in darkness, because light humor died with your innocence. You're becoming someone your mother wouldn't recognize, someone you don't recognize. But you adapt. Humans are disgustingly adaptable. You learn to function with the shakes, to shoot straight despite trembling hands. You learn to sleep in 10-minute increments, one eye open. You learn that sanity is optional. Survival is mandatory. The 1,000-yard stare becomes your resting face. The shakes become part of your personality. The nightmares become normal. This is you now. This is what survival looks like. Not heroic, not pretty, just continuous forward motion, despite your mind screaming stop. They'll call you heroes when you get home. Paint you as brave warriors who saved the world. They won't mention the pants, terror, the crying, the begging, the breakdown. They won't talk about how you're held together with nicotine in spite. They want to understand why you can just sit with your back to a door, or why 4th of July fireworks make you dive under tables. But that's later. Right now, you're still here. Still fighting. Still pretending your hands don't shake. Still lying when they ask if you're okay. You're not okay. Haven't been okay in months, maybe years, maybe ever again. But you're alive. That has to count for something, doesn't it? Mail call. 2 words that can make grown men cry with joy or devastation. The mail clock shows up with a bag of letters. And suddenly, everyone's a kid on Christmas morning. Except some kids get presents and others get nothing but the reminder that nobody's writing anymore. You crowd around like starving men at a soup kitchen. Names get called: Anderson, Baker, Crawford. Each name is salvation. Each gap between names is agony. You try to look casual, like you don't care, like your entire mental health doesn't to hinge on whether a piece of paper traveled 4,000 miles to find you. Davidson, that's you. Your hands shake as you take the letter. Could be from Mom, could be from your girl, could be the Dear John letter you've been dreading since you notice her letters. Getting shorter, less frequent, less full of when you get home, and more full of if you get home. You don't open it right away. Nobody does. Letters are sacred. You find a quiet spot, as quiet as it gets with artillery in the distance, and prepare yourself. This letter is a time machine. For the next few minutes, you're not in a hole in France or on some godforsaken island. You're home. Mom writes about the Victory Garden, how the tomatoes are coming in nice. She doesn't mention that your kid brother got drafted last month. Doesn't mention the telegrams other mothers on the street have gotten. She keeps it light, normal, like you're away at summer camp instead of watching people you know turn into hamburger. Your girl writes about dancers at the USO, how she misses you, how she's being good, waiting, counting days. She includes a photo. Her in that dress you like, the blue one. You stare at it until your eyes water, not from tears, from forgetting how to blink. She's so clean, so whole, so impossibly far from anything in your current reality. The letters smell like home. Mom includes cookies that arrive as crumbs, but you eat them anyway, savoring the taste of a kitchen that doesn't explode. Your girl sprays perfume on hers. It mixes with mildew and cordite to create something that breaks your heart in new ways. You write back, but what do you say? Can't it tell them about Henderson, who got his face blown off, but lived for 3 hours trying to scream through a mouth that wasn't there? Can't mention the village where you found things that made everyone puke, even the veterans. Can't explain how you've aged 20 years in 20 months, so you lie. I'm doing fine. Food's not bad. The guys are swell. French girls aren't as pretty as you. You ask about neighbors, relatives, anything normal. You pretend to care about Cousin Eddie's new job at the factory. You make jokes that would have been funny from the boy who left, but sound hollow from whatever you are now. V-mail makes it worse. Victory mail. Those little photographic letters that save shipping space. 1 page, that's all. They photograph it, shrink it, send it, blow it back up. Efficient. Also means you have to compress everything you want to say into 1 page. 1 page to maintain a connection to a world that's moving on without you. The censors read everything. Can't mention where you are. Loose lips sink ships. Can't describe battles. Might help the enemy. Can't be honest about conditions. Bad for morale. Your letters become mad libs where all the important parts are blacked out. Today, we were at censored and thought censored. I am censored, but managing to censored. Some guys get creative, develop codes with their families. When I mention Uncle Tony, that means Italy. If I ask about the dog, I'm okay. If I ask about the cat, things are bad. The censors probably know, but let it slide. Even they understand the need to say something real. Then come the Dear John letters. Always start the same. I've been thinking. This is hard to write. You deserve to know. She met someone. Someone who's there, who's whole, who doesn't scream in his sleep or flinch when cars backfire. Someone who can take her dancing without checking exits and counting threats. You want to be angry. Rage is easier than hurt, but you understand. How can she wait for someone who no longer exists? The boy she loved is gone. You're wearing his dog tags, but you're not him. Haven't been him since your first firefight. She's mourning someone who's technically still alive. And that's harder than mourning the dead. The worst letters are the ones that stop coming. Maybe she got tired of writing. Maybe she died in a bombing raid. The Germans are hitting London. The home front isn't as safe as they pretend. Maybe she just forgot about you. You'll never know. The silence is louder than artillery. Some guys stop writing home. What's the point? Every letter is a lie. A performance for people who can't understand. Your mother wants her baby boy. Your girl wants her sweetheart. Neither exists anymore. You're a ghost writing to people who knew you when you were alive. The replacement gets letters from home full of pride. Our son, the hero. His mom sends newspaper clippings about the war efforts. War bonds, victory gardens. She has no idea. Her hero spends most nights crying into his helmet, praying for a wound bad enough to go home, but not bad enough to die. Mail from dead men arrives. That's always fun. Johnson's mother still writes to him. 2 months after you scraped him off a tree, the letters pile up. Someone should write her. Tell her to stop. Nobody does. Let her have hope a little longer. The official telegram will come eventually. Until then, she can believe he's too busy being heroic to write back. You start to hate mail call. The hope, the disappointment, the reminder that somewhere people are living normal lives. They're worried about ration cards while you're rationing ammunition. They're planting gardens while you're planting mines. They're planning futures while you're not sure you'll see next Tuesday. But you keep writing, keep lying, keep pretending, because those letters are their lifeline too. They need to believe you're okay, need to believe their sacrifice. Sending sons and lovers to war means something. Your lies keep them functional, just like their letters keep you human. The gap widens with each exchange. They write about movies you'll never see, songs you'll never hear, changes you'll never be part of. You write about carefully edited adventures, buddies who are definitely still alive, French wine that definitely doesn't taste like paint thinner mixed with regret. Time moves differently in letters. By the time you read about Christmas, it's February. By the time they read your response, it's April. You're communicating across time as well as distance. Ghosts writing to ghosts. Everyone pretending the conversation makes sense. Eventually, if you survive, you'll go home. You'll sit at the kitchen table you've dreamed about for years. Your girl, if she waited, will wear that blue dress. And I'll have nothing to say, because the words that would make them understand are the words that would break them. So you'll smile, nod, say, "It wasn't so bad." You'll let them believe the letters were true. You'll bury the real stories with your friends in French dirt and Pacific sand. The letters will go in a box in the attic, evidence of a conversation between people who no longer exist. Your mother will keep them. Proof her boy was okay. You'll never read them again. Can't bear to see who you were pretending to be. But for now, in this foxhole with artillery playing bass drums in the distance, you carefully fold her letter along the same creases. Tuck it in your breast pocket next to the others. Feel the weight of home against your chest. Tomorrow, you'll write back. Tell her you're fine. Tell her about the funny thing Kowalski said, leaving out that Kowalski's been dead since Tuesday. Tell her you love her. That part at least is true. The mail clerk moves on. Some guys got packages. Some got nothing. Henderson's still getting letters from his dead brother's wife. Nobody's told her yet. Nobody wants that job. You light a cigarette with shaking hands. Read her letter again. Try to remember what her voice sounds like. Can't quite manage it. That world, her world, the world you're fighting for, feels like something you dreamed once. But you keep a letter anyway. Keep all of them. They're proof that somewhere in a universe you can barely imagine anymore, you matter to someone who thinks you're still the boy who left for war. That boy would have loved these letters. You just hope he enjoys them wherever he is. They call it rest and recuperation. R&R. 2 days in Paris if you're in Europe. Maybe Sydney if you're in the Pacific. 48 hours to pretend you're human again. To remember what civilization smells like. To discover you've forgotten how to function in it. The truck pulls up and the sergeant reads names. You're on the list. Should feel like winning the lottery. Instead, it feels like being exiled from the only world that makes sense anymore. But you climb aboard because orders are orders, even when they're ordering you to have fun. Paris, the city of light, even with blackout curtains and sandbags around monuments. You roll in covered in mud, blood, and 3 months of accumulated filth. French civilians stare, some with pity, some with fear. Most with a tired indifference of people who have seen too many soldiers pass through. First stop Delling Station, they spray you with DDT powder like your livestock, which is fair. You've been living like an animal, so long you've forgotten it's abnormal. Strip, shower, more powder. They burn your uniforms. Good riddance. Those threads have seen things fabric shouldn't witness. Clean uniform feels wrong. Too soft, too intact. No holes from shrapnel. No stains from things you don't think about. You look in a mirror for the first time in months. The face staring back is yours, but older, thinner, with eyes that look like they're seeing through time. You practice smiling. It looks like a wound. They give you money. Francs that feel like play money. What are you supposed to do with this? Buy something? What could you possibly need that fits in a foxhole? But you pocket it because that's what normal people do with money. You're impersonating a normal person now. The hotel is impossibly clean. Sheets that aren't mud. A mattress that doesn't squelch. A roof that probably won't collapse under artillery fire. You sit on the bed fully dressed. Rifle lean. Wait, where's your rifle? Panic. Can't breathe. Where's your rifle? Right, they took it. You're safe. Safe. The word has no meaning. You sleep on the floor that night, back against the wall, facing the door. The bed's too soft, too exposed. At 0430, you're awake, ready for stand to, except there's no stand to. Just you alone in a room that's too quiet. Breakfast in a real cafe. The coffee isn't made from burnt acorns and hope. The bread isn't hard enough to stop bullets. The waiter doesn't understand why you're crying over a quiche. You don't understand either. It tastes like the world you're supposedly fighting for. And that world feels like a fever dream. You wander the streets. Other G's everywhere, all with the same lost look. Like kids at a carnival after closing time. Everything's here. Bars, restaurants, girls who smile for money. But you can't connect. You're watching life through glass. Present, but not participating. The bar fills with soldiers trying to forget. Whiskey that burns better than memories. Beer that tastes like dishwater compared to combat adrenaline. You drink anyway. Everyone drinks. It's what you're supposed to do on leave. Have fun. Relax. Forget the war for 48 hours. But the war doesn't forget you. A car backfires and 6 GIS hit the floor. A woman laughs and it sounds like screaming. The wine is red like, no, don't think about it. Drink more, think less. That's the ticket. The girls are beautiful, clean, whole. They speak French, which sounds like music after months of incoming and medic.